to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros 14 large screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Game days are always better at Dave & Buster's. That's because more TV inches, more food and drinks, more space, and more fun make the game we all know and love more special. Nothing beats seeing your favorite team take the field on the two 12-foot big screens or 26 75-inch TVs. Throw in the arcade experience and you've got a winning atmosphere that no other sports bar can deliver. Follow the fun at Dave & Buster's, Panama City Beach on Facebook and Instagram. Eat, drink, play, and watch sports at Dave & Buster's.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe. It is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
We're the radio home of the Mosley Dolphins. WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
No.
And now we're taking...
Redeem first pick.
This is the last ball you got to bet. The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Friday morning here in the Florida Panhandle. Hard to believe it's Friday already, and we've got some high school football played last night and playing tonight. But you are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. And just like that, he said he was here till Thanksgiving. He's a liar. He's not in studio, David.
On his way to where?
Hotlanta.
For what?
For a Bengals preseason game.
That is ridiculous.
Oh, no. That should be fun.
Divorces someone and just goes right back
to their home.
And now he wants to say it's the Bengals. Come on, give me a break, Jay.
Yeah, I hope he's listening. I don't know if I buy that at all. But yeah, safe travels up there, Jay, if you are listening, and have some fun with the kiddos. And we look forward to getting you back in studio on Monday. But yeah, a lot going on in the sports world. High school football starting to get kicked back off. I know last night I think Arnold played the kickoff classic, formerly known as the Jamboree, as we used to call it. They played Vernon and Bozeman, and I saw it a little bit on the news this morning, and then you got some more stuff going down tonight, right? Mosley's playing Lincoln in Childs.
Yeah, it's going to be over there in Childs. I think it's more like a varsity plays a quarter, JV plays a quarter, that type of situation. I know Bay's playing Niceville, and not entirely sure on the other ones.
Okay. Yeah. No. And then next week the high school football season officially gets underway, which is pretty fantastic and pretty awesome because we haven't had any football in a long time. Week 0 is next week too. Hard to believe that
we made it.
I know we made it. We're pretty much there.
No, we're here.
No, we are there.
Because now it's all previews, like everything. Yeah. It's not like, why are these guys talking so much football right now? It's like football's
right around the corner. Yeah.
It's here. The other games tonight, you've got Rutherford and Graceville, Bay, Niceville, Mosley, Lincoln, and then I guess last night, Weewaw, Port St. Joe, and North Bay Haven. All of that's being played tonight at Bozeman.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, go out and support your local high school teams. We talked about it many times when Dee was in the studio a couple weeks ago on Friday. We were talking about you got to get out there and support these kids.
Right.
It makes a difference. They work hard, especially in this heat. Whew, go out and support, go have some fun, all that good stuff. Go check us out at Bay Point Golf Club as well. We're pretty much golf courses, and we had our full course aeration almost 2 weeks ago now, and it's healed up fast and quick, and the golf course is in good shape. I mean, it's hot, so you got to drink lots of water out there, but it's slowed down a little bit. So for the locals wanting to play some golf, take advantage of our local player pass. You can sign up for that. You get a free round of golf, and then you play for discounted rates all the way through the end of this quarter, and we do that every quarter as well. A lot of golf was played this summer out there in the heat. It's just crazy.
I know. I played one of those rounds.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Oh, a very hot day out there, and it's like, man, thank God for the water coolers.
That's right, and we even added a couple more this summer, which was a good thing, that's for sure. But also, Beach House Sales Development, I want to mention this program that's going on right now. It's been going on around for a while, but they've changed it and opened it up, I believe, to anybody. The old Hometown Heroes program. You can get $35,000 towards your first home. There's just some requirements you have. Must be a first-time home buyer, must work 35 hours a week, 640 minimum credit score, must be a Florida resident, must work for a company with a physical location in Florida, and must have the first home buyer education required as well. But a lot of good stuff out there at your disposal. You just need to have a good real estate agent that can help you guide you through all those products and make it happen out there. But Beach House Sales and Development can certainly do that. That is for sure. Some interesting comments. I wanted to jump in on the golf side a little bit before we start talking about football. Probably repeat a little bit about what you were doing yesterday, maybe after Chris and them get here later on the show. Do a couple little ceilings and all that particular stuff.
Yeah. It's a fun segment, too, because you can... At first, I was trying to go through everyone's schedule and everything, but it's one of those situations where it's like, we're talking about a ceiling and a floor. What do you think the ceiling could be, and what do you think the floor could be? Yeah. It's a fun conversation for
Just
sure.
Give us a number. It adds up to 17. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
On the NFL side, 12 on the college football side. That's for sure.
I guess we could have went with, like, say Michigan or whatever. If you think they're going to go undefeated and win it all, what's that? 15-0?
Yeah.
Big Ten championship.
Big Ten championship and 2 playoffs. Yep. Yeah. 15-0. I feel like somebody's going to do it this year.
I mean, Georgia did it last year.
Yep. It's the time too to get in your future bets if you're a bettor. That time is coming down to the wire for total win totals, conference champion winners, division winners, all that particular stuff. Now is the time.
I don't think anyone's going to go undefeated this year. I think the only team that could do it, I don't want to say the only team that could do it, because Georgia absolutely could if Carson Beck, if Littlefoot is what people think he's going to be. But Michigan, and I say that because all of LSU possibly.
Yeah, a little tougher tread there, I think.
Exactly. But it's because Michigan's bringing so much back, whereas Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, regardless, they're still going to be good squads.
Yeah, there's still question marks.
But there's question marks.
Yeah. And it baffles me how, I even heard you talking a little bit last night about how people they're not seeming to be as worried as much about Alabama. And I just, this will end up being the year that Alabama just runs the table and wins the national championship again.
Yeah, it seems to.
They're getting slept on a little bit.
Exactly. I mean, also, Miami, Texas A&M, those teams are. Texas A&M not as much, as maybe some of the other schools, but they still have a talented roster. And if Bobby Petrino and Jimbo Fisher work out together, they could be a dangerous squad.
I was talking to somebody out at the club yesterday about this, and do you think, you got Jimbo, he's the head coach. They bring in Bobby Petrino. They haven't really said officially who's calling the plays yet, right? So what if Texas A&M doesn't have a great season? Did they bring in Bobby Petrino?
Like a head coach in waiting?
Yeah, exactly. Like kind of moving these chess pieces around?
Man, I don't know. I think that they're happy with what Jimbo Fisher's bringing year in and year out. Maybe not record-wise, especially last year. Yeah. But I think that they're happy with the recruits he's bringing in and stuff. I think that's really going to depend on how this. I don't think that they did that intentionally.
Intentionally, yes.
But who knows how this first year goes?
If this season goes bad, do you see a scenario where Jimbo gets pushed out and Bobby Petrino takes over?
If they lose to, they lost to App State last year. Yep. So if they have another fall like that this year, then I could see it. Yeah, I could see that. Maybe not Petrino being the guy.
That's a whole other topic of conversation.
Because him as a coordinator, but then leading your program, it would just be interesting how they would feel about the optics.
Yeah.
You could just change your name from the Aggies to the Motorcycle Club at that point.
Yep. There you go. There you go. The 12th man riding a motorcycle. There you go. Get your thoughts on these. I put one of these in yesterday, David. I'll jump into these golf comments here in a minute. But 3 teams. Florida State. The regular season win totals 9.5. I took the over. What do you think?
I like the over there. I like the over, man. And here's one of those things. It's going to be crushing for Florida State fans. How fun is it right now, right? Florida State believes they're back. Florida kind of knows where they're at, but still on social media, those fans are giving it to each other, right? And that's the best time of the year. But if Florida State goes 9-3 this year, for all that rah-rah that the fans have been doing for good reason.
Oh, yeah.
Great success in the transfer portal, great success last year. You're bringing so many people back. But if they go 9-3, I think a large amount of the fans are going to be
disappointed.
Very disappointed. Yeah. It also depends the 3 games you lose, right? Let's say you lose LSU, Clemson, and Florida plays them close and ends up beating them.
Yeah.
Well, Florida fans are going to be over the moon at that point in time. Florida State fans, I think, could make sense of that. I don't think Norvell's job is in jeopardy at all, but I like 9.5 for sure. I like Florida State to only lose 1 game, and that's going to be either LSU or Clemson.
Yeah, and it's
what I'd love to see is they beat LSU, lose to Clemson, then get to face them again in the ACC title game and beat them there.
Yeah, and there's your 10 wins right there. Well, the ACC title game doesn't count.
Yeah, it wouldn't count.
But if they lose to Clemson and LSU and then run the rest of it.
Well, no, they would beat LSU.
Okay.
They would beat LSU and then lose to Clemson. So they would have 11-1 regular season. So that would be over 9.5.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. Well,
you win your money.
That's what I'm going for. I'll throw another one out for you. I got Coastal Carolina. My Chanticleers had to rep their stuff today. 7.5. Went with the over on that one.
Who's y'all's head coach over there? Is it still the same one?
No, it's Beck from North Carolina State.
Right. That's right.
Chadwell went up to Liberty. I'm still bitter about that.
Don't want no cats. We want no meows. We want dogs.
That's right. Oh, that was David Bennett. Yeah, he was the coach when I was there. He was a mess. So they start with UCLA in Los Angeles.
Okay.
That's going to be on ESPN on Saturday at 9:30. I'm going to have to stay up late for that one. UCLA is a 16-point favorite right now.
Ooh, I like Coastal with the points there.
Yeah, so you just man, that's a tough one. Okay, and then they play Jacksonville State at home. Then they play Duquesne.
Now a D1 team.
Yes, now a D1 team. Yep, they play them at home. They play Duquesne at home. Georgia State at home. Then they got to go play Georgia Southern. Then they have to play App State at App State. Going to Arkansas State. Marshall at home. Old Dominion on the road. Texas State at home. Army on the road, and then they finish the season with their big-time rival James Madison at home.
I'm looking at 9-3 right there.
That's kind of where I'm at, so that's why I took the over. Yeah.
What's the over sitting at?
7.5.
7?
Yeah. I think I said 7.5.
I think you're golden right there as well.
Yep.
I mean, now Grayson McCall goes down, then
whole different ballgame. Yeah. No, but on paper as we're looking at it right now, but yeah, probably lose the game to UCLA, but then App State's a toss up. That's for sure. Got a caller on the line here. We'll just get him on just a second. Just me and David hanging out today until Chris Paul and everybody get here from the Gulf Coast Warriors, talking about their travel organization. Excited to hear what all they got going on a little bit later today. But yeah, got one more. I'm gonna pop David here in a second on this one, because I think this is another one after talking to Brad Law on Tuesday and really getting the feel for Auburn and where the buzz is and all that particular stuff. They've got now this is through my thing, so this isn't DraftKings and all that particular stuff. So the odds technically or they vary just a little bit. But Auburn at 6.5 on the win totals on the season. That's another one I thought I would take the over on. That's for sure. We do have a caller on the line. Okay, awesome. Who do we got out there?
This is Richard. Quick comment on FSU. I mean, I think they're going to be favored in every game except possibly for LSU and for Clemson at Clemson. But even if they lost both of those games, which I certainly hope they don't, but if they did, the way the ACC schedule conference is set up this year, by winning the rest of the games, they're still going to be in the conference championship game and get another shot at Clemson. So a lot depends on injuries, of course, and a lot depends on the manner in which you lost the game. So if they lost close games to LSU or Clemson and then beat Clemson and won the conference, I don't think anybody's going to be upset by that. Now, there's some traps along the way, but they're going to be favored and have more talent than everybody else on their schedule. Florida, I really think they're going to be touch and go to make a bowl game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm looking at 5 and 7 or so.
Their schedule is brutal, and with Mertz as the quarterback, they could easily lose a bunch of games and be packing it in at the end of the year, or playing all new people just to see what they've got. You can't look that far ahead for FSU to the end of the year, but that Clemson, LSU, and Florida all non-conference games. So, or excuse me, not Clemson, but they can lose one game to a conference foe and still make the playoff. We don't have this Coastal Atlantic or whatever we had the last dozen years.
Yeah, that's why I said I would like to see them. Well, I don't want to see them lose to Clemson, but I want to see them beat LSU again. And then if they lose to Clemson, they would get that rematch in the ACC title game. And I think that would be very sweet for Seminole fans. Let me ask you, Richard, what is the number of losses where it's like, man, and let's say Jordan Travis stays healthy, it's not because of injuries. What is the number of losses where it's like, this season felt so good, but it just didn't work out?
I mean,
or it's a disappointment.
I think that, the upside is all the way up to losing no games till the playoffs, truthfully. I mean, that's probably not as likely as losing one or possibly two games. If they lose more than two games, you're right, it's going to be a disappointing season. But you could still lose 3 games and then win the conference championship, and I think there'll be some disappointment, but most people will be fine with that if they won a rematch with Clemson.
Yeah, I think this season it's funny how all the stars are kind of lining up. So Florida State's been building up to this the next couple of years, or for the last few years, and now this is the year where the ACC changes and gets rid of their divisions, which arguably opens a door for them for sure.
This is their year to have a really good season, because I usually have my whole life have analyzed college football in terms of who's got the most experienced quarterback in the game if an individual game is playing. Now, LSU, that's pretty much a push.
Yeah.
Clemson, FSU's clearly got the more experienced quarterback.
100%.
I mean, Jordan Travis is in his 6th year with the COVID year, and everybody else they're playing on their schedule, absent Jordan Travis getting hurt, FSU's got the most experienced quarterback, and they've got so much coming back this year then in terms of not even counting the transfer portal, just in terms of production of both offensive, defense, of returning players, I think they're number one in the country this year in terms of statistically. So, and then you add Coleman and everybody else. It's just Jaheim Bell. I mean, the offense is just going to be absolutely scary.
Yeah, the wide receiving core is disgusting.
Could now, last year injuries to the offensive line really tore apart the middle of the season with those middle 3 games they lost in a row. But this year they got a really depth-intensive offensive line with the transfer portal and returning people from injuries. Jordan Travis is the one key. I'm not sure they're going to beat LSU or Clemson without everybody, especially Jordan Travis clicking. FSU can't go out there and beat themselves. I mean, they've not reached the Georgia level where, you can just overwhelm people physically. They're a lot better, but that's not going to happen.
I think on paper it's easy to say that they're a much better team than Clemson. I think Clemson's just getting that brand recognition right now. It's going to be interesting to see how Klubnik kind of steps up in the place of DJU, because it obviously didn't work out.
The first game is at Clemson. That's the let's say FSU would be a 3-point favorite on a neutral field. That could easily be a toss-up game or favorite. I think Clemson will be favored in the game, depending on how the first couple games play out.
There's 4 lines already right now on FSU's schedule. That first one is obviously the LSU game, and currently LSU is favored by 2.5 points. Like you said, at Clemson, they're favored by 3, which if you take that home field advantage, good for 3 points. That's pretty much a toss-up there. They also have the Miami line out already, and FSU is favored by 14 points. And then they have a line on the FSU-Florida game already, and they're favored by 8 points. So I think you're right. Every game except for LSU and Clemson. And if the Clemson game is at home, that line's probably flipped to -3 for Florida State. So yeah, they're definitely going to be favored, and probably a heavy favorite in a lot of these games.
But what is it about Clemson?
And all those things can change depending on what happens with injuries and how the teams look in the first couple 3 games. So but that's just looking at it right now. I think you and I are agreed that they're going to be favored in every game, but 2.
Yep. What are you saying, David, about Clemson?
I was just saying, what is it about Clemson? It's much like Alabama, where it's just they're getting that love off of name and recognition, and we'll see will the defense step back up to kind of what it was when Venables was running it.
Yeah, I mean, heck, Clemson could go 8-4 and not even be.
I think they're good for 10-2.
The unknown about Clemson this year is they have a actual real offense coordinator, and if he clicks, what is it? Riley's brother from Southern Cal, his brother is the new OC, and that could be that all of a sudden he clicks with Klubnik, and Clemson defensively, they may not have the superstars, but they're going to be solid as hell. Their linebackers are terrific. They got the running back who killed FSU last year. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's been around for like 3 or 4 years. I mean, they're going to be good. They're going to be good.
Well, their back half of the schedule is definitely, besides the Florida State game, a little bit tougher, I think, than Florida State's. They got to play Miami, NC State, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech. That's a wash. North Carolina, and then finish with South Carolina. And South Carolina beat them last year, right?
Yeah, and Clemson will be looking for revenge for sure.
Yeah,
and, that's a bragging rights game like the Orange Bowl.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The Iron Bowl, I meant to say.
Absolutely.
That's the biggie in that state.
Hey, Richard, we got our first break coming up. We appreciate your call, and go Noles.
Dude, I love like the journey that Florida State's been on, and especially the fan, like that's the best part of it. And when Florida State and Florida and even Miami, when they're having good when they have hope before the season, high hopes, it is a ton of fun.
It's good
around
for college
this
football.
area. Oh, it's great for college football, but for this area, man, I love it, and I really hope Florida State has a phenomenal season this year.
And when we moved here, Florida State was on the down. That's when Bobby, Jimbo had been gone his way out, the Taggart years and all that. So, we've kind of watched this buzz grow back up, and I'm with you. I think this is Florida State's year, and Norvell's doing a great job. He's a fantastic coach, a lot of energy, and I think it bleeds through to the players and the recruits and the transfer portal that they've been so successful with. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida has the real local fishing report. Hi, this is Tim from Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle. Join me every Friday at 4:20 during the afternoon Underdogs. It's accurate, detailed content from local anglers, plus fishing updates on Saturday and Sunday morning right when you hit the water. Advice and stories from local anglers. Tune into the Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle Fishing Report, exclusively on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Friday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, sunshine and a high of 92 with a moderate breeze out of the west-southwest at 13 miles per hour. For tonight, clear skies and a low near 82. Tomorrow, sunny and a high around 92. For Sunday, a mixture of mostly sunshine and a possibility of thunderstorms, a high of 93. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hi, this is Matt Lewis with Reliable Hydraulic Solutions. We offer comprehensive diagnostics and repair service for all types of hydraulic units, such as hydraulic and pneumatic cylinders, hydraulic pumps, motors, and valves, as well as a broad range of hydraulic hoses and O-rings. Give us a call at Reliable Hydraulic Solutions at 850-326-3000 for any of your hydraulic needs.
Visit their new location, Highway 77, south of Tractor Supply.
Take your next adventure in an award-winning Kia from Bill Bird Kia. The SUV family has movement that inspires, and we invite you to test drive the new 2023 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. You can command the road in a sedan from Bill Bird Kia. Drive away today in a new 2023 Rio, Forte, K5, or Stinger, and discover the all-new Kia at Bill Bird Kia. 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City, or anytime at BillBirdKia.com. Peace of mind you can trust at your local community dealer, Bill Bird Kia.
Back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
It's alive! Look alive! We're alive!
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. Go visit them this weekend. Check out their full line of vehicles that they have in stock. That parking lot is looking beautiful and full. Trade values are still super high. If you need some service work done, or if you need a new set of tires, they sell them to you at cost. No questions asked there. And if you need to get your boat back out on the water, you need an engine repower, just some work done on it, they have a Yamaha Master Certified Mechanic on staff. And as always, they are selling Seabourn, Spider, Sundance, all part of that CRI boat family. And now selling Skeeter boats as well. You can check out their new and used inventory at KramerMarineandOutdoor.com. And we got another caller on the line. Alan, are you in the bunker today?
Yes, I am.
Das Bunker. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good, man. Does Mr. Kramer just give out boats? Because I need a boat before I can get it repaired.
That's true. I'm in that same boat as you are, Alan. Don't have anything to get fixed. Trying to figure out how to get the package deal. One of those big trucks, a trailer, and a boat all in one. Working on it.
Tell him I'll be a Gator fan if he's going to give me a boat, man. I'm trying to FSU for a boat.
Hey, that's everybody's got their breaking point. That's for sure.
NIL for fans. I love it.
Hey.
Yeah, right. Straight up. My fandom comes with a lot of good attention, man. I'm good karma. I can get you to the playoffs. I just can't win a game when I get there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, but for a lot, that's just getting there is a big deal. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah. What do you got? What do you got today? What do you want to talk about? It's open slate. Jay's not here, so it's interesting. It's quiet in the studio.
I had, and I'm sad to not hear Jay in the studio because I had a play yesterday I wanted to share with you guys for my horse betting. You know, I went to Colonial Downs yesterday, and so there was a race. The winning horse was 50-1. The favorite was 9-5, and then there was a 12-1 that came in third. A 50-cent trifecta on that bet paid $1,495.
Shoo!
The guy behind me had the 50-1 to win and had the second place horse right, but he didn't have the third place horse.
Oh man!
I had a 60-1 to win. I had the second place horse and the third place horse. We basically both near missed. We were just like, no. But somebody there had the first and second, and then the exacta, I think it was a $2 won you like 400 and something, and they had that exacta for like $20. I think I could hear them screaming, running out into the parking lot. They were gone.
That's what's so exciting about being at the track.
It was a great day at the track. But the guy that called before me, he was really nice about Florida State, man, and he sounded like he was very knowledgeable. And I agree with him. Man, anything under, if we lose more than 2 games, I'm gonna be borderline raging.
You might fight somebody.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
No. Because here's the thing. I was one of those people. I wanted Deion a long time ago, and I was hoping we would get Deion, and then Deion took Hunter from us, and I was really bitter about that. But I had to take a step back. I was a Norvell fan when he was at Memphis. I used to bet games with him all the time. He's not a bad coach.
No.
And he has turned this program around a whole lot quicker than I anticipated. So I've kind of shifted a little bit. I'm not going to fight. I'll just be the disappointed parent. That's all.
There you go. Yeah, sometimes that's worse than getting your butt kicked. You know,
Yeah,
I'm not mad.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed.
Ooh, that's
worse. Disappointment is strong. But yeah, I think Norvell's done a great job over there kind of creating the Florida State family and the Florida State culture that they were kind of missing, prior to his arrival. And, it's certainly paying off in the transfer portal and the recruiting. I hear he's out there every practice. I think Jim Morant said this morning on the Coach James Hale show, running sprints with the guys in the indoor facility and all that stuff. And anytime you've got a coach who, it's like, did you see the video? You guys see the video of Pete Carroll?
Oh, yeah,
throwing
Grandpa
footballs?
Mahomes.
Yeah.
71 years old out there dropping dimes all over the field.
Pistol Pete looks better than Trey.
That's yeah. Oof, maybe a little slower. I don't know. He probably gets the ball out a little faster. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff I love. I love seeing when Shanahan's throwing passes. I just love seeing when the coaches get involved with the players because I think that we talked yesterday. We had Dave Diebold on. He played Michigan tight end from 1989 to 92, I believe, and we were talking about the culture of football back then. It was always yes sir, and regardless, graduate assistant all the way up to the head coach. It was just how it was. And then things have kind of changed a little bit in this day and age as far as, how we respect and things like that, if that makes sense. But then you see the coaches involved with the players like that. I think that garners a lot of respect from when you're an NFL coach, from adults, which is got to be hard to do.
Yeah, and culture setting starts on the first day, man. And I'm speaking from experience of having been around guys who've had to recreate programs at the high school level. But from my understanding and reading and going to seminars, even when college coaches speak, it sounds along the same way. You establish that on day one. And I think we as a society have gotten away from that, because it's just easier to let people kind of operate how they operate as long as they come back to what you want in regards of, I just want you guys on the field and to make plays. But the little things matter, man. I think people play harder for guys they respect more. And if you don't establish that early, then you're going to have issues. That's probably the positive with Deion Sanders is he talks a lot, he blows a lot of smoke, but at the end of the day, his players are going to respect him. The 22 men that he takes on that field for offense and defense, will respect him and play hard for him, and that matters so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I hope Jay had his first not parent meeting, but his first practice with his Bay High golf team on Wednesday, and I told him, look, you got to get in there, you got to set the tone early. Like, you can't let these kids walk all over you. I know you're a nice, friendly dude, but no, set the tone. But yeah, no, go ahead.
I was just saying I got the door.
You let him in. Good job. Thank you. But what else you got, Alan? What else you want to talk about?
I was going to say the whole. I know people are not really into basketball this time of year, but everybody should pay attention. If you're an NBA fan or you like the NBA, you need to keep an eye on the James Harden saga, because that new CBA that they're going to have to end up negotiating here sooner than later is probably going to be drastically different. I really envision that the NBA is going to take a more NFL approach, because this is the second time in less than 4 years.
Yeah,
James Harden has
second time in 2 years, it feels like.
Yeah, to force himself out of a situation, and you still got the Ben Simmons thing that was working. I just think there's just too much power to this current generation of players, and they're going to have to make some changes.
Yeah. What do you think, David?
Well, I mean, it's wild. I'm curious. That's all we've got essentially is him calling Daryl Morey a liar, and he wants to trade. And did Daryl Morey promise him, like, hey, if you take this $33.5 million deal or whatever, we'll restructure it and I'll make sure to get you the Supermax deal or whatever it is. But I mean, come on. At the end of the day, we've been talking more about James Harden than he's been playing basketball.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know.
And there's something in there, too. I think I shared it with you, Alan, the other day with the contract. Like, if he doesn't do something within 30 days of the start of the season, they could basically, he wouldn't be able to be a free agent. Ooh. They could restrict him. I forget exactly what it is. I read about it. Some kind of clause in there that restricts him from being a free agent.
And what happened to him going to, was it him or was it Westbrook going to the Clippers?
He wanted to go to the Clippers, but the Clippers decided not to pursue it.
Makes sense. Too much
sounds more like, yeah, he's a head case, and then what the 76ers were asking for, they were like, heck no. Which I don't blame him. If the guy doesn't want to play for you, I'm not going to pay top dollar for him.
Yeah.
Heck no.
Makes zero sense. Yeah, that's for sure. I'm trying to find what that clause was. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, basically they hold the power to restrict him from becoming a free agent contractually if he doesn't do something in a certain period of time. I know that's very ambiguous. I'd have to go back and find the email that I had it in, but yeah.
Did you guys ever touch base on Ryan Clark's crazy comment?
Go ahead and take off on that.
No,
man.
I did call Adam Golf Ryan Clark for saying that the Rams were going to win the NFC West.
Yeah, he did say that. He did say
I apologize beforehand, but I mean that's like saying I apologize before you punch somebody in the face.
Yeah, that's crazy that you would think that would be the most absurd thing he would say. But then he said, and let me make sure I quote him right because he was making a big deal about it. George Pickens is much more talented than Justin Jefferson. And so his example to that was Aaron Rodgers is more talented than Tom Brady, but Tom Brady's the better player. And I get that argument because in my sports group, we always say that Aaron Rodgers is the best of all time, but that Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. However, the difference between George Pickens and Justin Jefferson is not Rodgers and Brady at all.
Yeah.
Like at all. So it irks my soul, man, that these guys have platforms and they just say all these crazy things. Like,
I think they got to say those things to keep the platform.
Yeah, so
they got to say these things to keep those platforms, man.
So they don't get X'd like the rest of them.
I know, but it does suck. Unless he really believes that.
Yeah.
If he does believe that George Pickens is more talented than the best wide receiver in the league, which you make a great point there. It's not about he's not alluding to him being better on the field. He's just saying he's got more talent. But man, I don't know how you can say that with what we've seen out of Justin Jefferson. Like that, that's a lot of talent.
And he created the gritty. I mean, George Pickens didn't do that.
At both levels, in college and in NFL. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like, what?
Huge difference in college for sure. But yeah, I mean, and I think Jefferson's average. He's been taking number 1 in a lot of people's leagues.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kurt, taking care of him.
And it reminds me of around this time last year, Jeff Saturday was on one of those shows saying that Justin Herbert was just as good as Patrick Mahomes.
And then he got a head coaching job.
Yeah, 3 months later he got a head coaching job. Yeah, so I was like, is Ryan Clark trying to become a defensive coordinator for somebody or something?
He's going to the Cardinals.
Yep, the catch-all. There you go. Yeah.
So ridiculous, man. But, like, I think I really want to see more people like J.T. O'Sullivan, former players, do more breakdowns and kind of elaborate on some of the nuances of the game, man, because a lot of people need to learn. Heck, I need to learn, you know? Like, I subscribe to QB school so I can know terminology and identify things. Like, when I sent you the videos of, like, RPOs and stuff, like, I can see that in real time now. I don't have to go back and rewind. Like, I can recognize, oh, that's an RPO. Mm-hmm. Oh, they're in man coverage. So I would love to see more people do that on their own, because these guys on ESPN, Fox, I mean, even NFL Network has some, like, wild things people are saying. I'm like, what is going on in the sports world? Like, you can do other things to get clicks rather than being outrageous.
Yeah, that is true.
And I like Ryan Clark a lot. And speaking of the tape, I feel like Dan Orlovsky does a pretty good job of breaking it down, but it would be cool to see tape being broke down from the defensive perspective.
Yeah, Dan and I think
y'all got
I had
fight?
beef with him. No. No way. No, I had beef with him. It was I think it was a Kyler Murray breakdown that he did that I just respectfully disagree with. Like, you're giving him a cop out. Like, no, he's just bad. And that's one of the things that I like about J.T. O'Sullivan. If you're bad, he's going to say, man, that's bad. Like, the Trey Lance video he did, he was like, look, I get it, you know, but no, this is awful. And that's what we need more. We need more people to really call it like it is. Like, if you're playing bad, this is bad. The expectation for this level is that you can complete a high school level play action passes. Double curls, guy in the flat for your safety valve. Why are you checking down before you look at the curls? Like, what are you doing? And it takes somebody like JT to say it, because when you get on ESPN and stuff, they're going to say, oh, well, the blocking wasn't there. No, it actually was. He just checked down early because he's scared. Yeah. And I don't know why. And that's what JT was saying. And I appreciate that as a fan.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, calling it like it actually see, and it's that balance, right, between, you know, entertainment and knowledge and helping out, and, you know, that's what Jay Henley brings so much here to the Inside Drive, is that entertainment factor, and I feel, yeah, he is certainly the X factor of our show. There is no doubt, because when he's not here, we don't have that mojo, that wild off the cusp.
Yeah, exactly. Take you down a dirt road.
Hey, that
you guys give me 1 month with Jay Henley for the NFL season, and by October he's going to be screaming, "Go for it!" and all kind of stuff. He's going to be on it.
Hey, those videos. Hopefully, he understands what an RPO is now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's not a knock on Jay.
Oh, not by any means. No.
Yeah, everybody should get the simple breakdowns. I remember the very first video I ever did. It was on the Ravens. They were clearly in man coverage. I go back and look at it on my own all the time to laugh at myself, but I was diagnosing it as zone. Had no idea it was man coverage, and it took somebody that I respect as a fellow colleague in film watching to be like, hey, bro, you're completely wrong. And we went back and watched it. He broke it down for me, and, like, you know, it really helped me create better content. So I'm always appreciative of that, and I feel like a lot of fans would definitely appreciate it too if they knew more of the nuances of football.
Well,
it's not Madden.
Yeah, and you learn that stuff. That's going to help you be a better gambler. It's going to help you better be a daily fantasy sports player and maybe win your fantasy league.
But it'll drive you crazy too.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah.
You'll be watching the games and you'll be like, "What in the world are we doing?"
Yep. Yeah, it was. I
tell the story all the time about the Kansas City Chiefs when they play the Raiders. For some reason, they still want to play single high looks, and the Chiefs cannot be stopped by one safety ever. and so they always have career days when they play the Raiders. So I used to always bet the over on the Chiefs side in points when they played the Raiders, because I'm like, yo, Mahomes is about to go off, and people would always be like, how do you know that? And I would break it down from the X and O standpoint, like it's just the schematic difference in how the Chiefs attack people and the defense that the Raiders for some reason won't get out of. And like you were saying, it helps you become a better gambler. I mean, I could maybe buy a boat if I had to save my money.
Yeah.
Off of just betting the overs there.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Alan, we got a break coming up. We've got Chris Fall and a couple other guys about to jump in studio with us. But if you got time, feel free to give us a shout later on. We might be doing some ceilings and some floors of all the NFL divisions. So, but yeah, we appreciate you as always.
If I can, I'll jump in. You guys have a great day.
Yeah, appreciate you, Alan. You are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, and we come back. We'll be joined by Chris Fall talking about the Gulf Coast Warriors travel basketball programs. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the Inside Drive.
Nashville should be the capital of Tennessee, not Memphis.
You heard it here first?
Memphis, man, I got some stories about Memphis. I used to be, we used to play the Redbirds right there, and, close enough where you had to walk. After the games, I'm like...
He said,
Hey, man. Join Ryan Mulvey.
Thank you very little.
Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
At Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, you can find all the necessary items for an unforgettable fishing experience. From pin rods and reels to the best hand-tied rigs in Florida, we have it all. With the help of our friendly and knowledgeable staff, you can be sure that you have the right gear to make that big catch. Come experience a great local bait and tackle shop located directly off 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach, located just 5 miles west of Pier Park.
Hi folks, it's Tracy with Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Coin and Bullion Reserves. Did you know that we do more than just sell some of the finest jewelry in town? We can engrave on your wedding band, locket, Yeti cup, or almost anything. Need your watch battery changed? We can do that too. Our expert will even evaluate your coin collection. And of course, we always pay top dollar for your old gold and silver jewelry. See, there's a lot more to Tracy's Fine Jewelry than a lot of pretty sparkly things. Come and see us today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
We're starting fresh.
Fresh new start.
Locally sourced, Farm to Radio. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is live and local. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. As always, I don't even think I read our station identification yet. 104.3 here in Panama City Beach, 101.9 along the Forgotten Coast. As always, you can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And if you are watching on Facebook, give us a little share action there. We appreciate you sharing the show and tuning in. As always, you can also download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. And last but not least, you can visit ESPNPC.com. Just click that Listen Live button. Now excited to have my good friend Chris Fall join me in studio. I know Rusty's going to be here around 12 o'clock. But talking about the Gulf Coast Warriors travel programs, right?
That's it.
Why don't you dive into that a little bit and tell me all, because you guys you've really expanded. You've merged with a few other travel teams, and kind of just walk me through how the travel program works and where y'all stretch out to.
All right, well, to start out with, basketball after Hurricane Michael, along other sports, right, we kind of had some challenges with fields and venues, so travel was a good outlet through Michael and through COVID for boys and girls that wanted to expand their basketball platforms and play a little bit more than just rec or school ball. Excited to say, like in 2019, I'd say about 3 or 4 new organizations popped up. I had one with Southern Elite Sports, the Suns. And going into this year and fast forwarding, it's really exciting. We found that we're pretty good teams, right? But to really compete on that national next level, we really need to put the best 8, best 10 players from Bay County out there at each age division. So that was kind of our goal in our foundation this year, as we merged some organizations, brought in some really great coaches, just having that opportunity for kids to not only play on the national level, but we'll still have the regional and local teams that most teams do. So in essence, really, we're just trying to get those kids to the next level and play on bigger and brighter stages, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's why even just at the I'll call it the recreational level with Southern Elite Sports, I mean, that's always kind of seemed to be the goal with you guys, is how do we keep these pipeline of athletes getting better and better and better so that middle school, high school sports, all that stuff can benefit as a whole. And it seems like this is kind of that same thing.
Well, I think you've seen it too, right? With the support of the city of Panama City, we've had some great venue partners, First United Methodist Church, Breakfast Point Academy, A.D. Harris Learning Annex. There's really been the opportunity to expand basketball more than that once a year kind of vibe for the kids.
Yeah.
So it's really great. As you've seen, we've got 3 or 4 leagues going a year in basketball. We sell out 350 to 400 kids. And not even just basketball, right? The other sports. Volleyball has doubled in the 2 seasons.
Yeah, y'all done fantastic with volleyball.
Oh, it's not us. It's you too, Ryan. Remember our first conversation, right? Are you sure you want to coach? Because you're going to be hooked for the rest of your life on it. So.
Absolutely.
But that's really exciting. So it's not us, it's the community, right? There's just so many people that put in. We just had an All-American Game showcase here with kids from 17 different states. Had probably 15 to 20 people in the basketball community working for free to help that event, be it coaching, working the door, helping with the 3-point shot contest. So I would be remiss to say it's not us. It is all of Bay County that's really helping to build basketball and other programs.
Well, and that's what it takes. I mean, if there's going to be a concerted effort to grow the sport and get better athletes, it takes an entire community, and you have to have the support. Like you said, those venues. If you're not able to use those venues, you guys probably don't have basketball.
Right.
And that's such an important thing. And, you know, watching what you guys do and the continued growth. And I really think in the next, 10 years or so, there's just going to be such a massive youth organization of players here in this area. And
right.
A lot has to do with what you guys have been doing. But talk a little bit more specifically about the Gulf Coast Warriors and where you guys are traveling to. How do people get involved? I think you just had, tryouts just happened?
No, we have them coming up Saturday.
Oh, coming up Saturday.
Right,
I apologize. That's right. Tomorrow.
Yeah. So Gulf Coast Warriors, we're a separate organization than the one that I ran last year. And both teams or both organizations played all over the Southeast. We went as far as Omaha, Nebraska. But there's some premier tournaments, right? There's different levels of sports in all locales. So we have played national tournaments like Ballin' on the Beach in Miami. Jamie's taken his team to Memphis, Tennessee, Jackson, Mississippi.
Which isn't the capital of Tennessee. It is not. It is still Nashville. Sorry, I had to bring a J.
I can't wait to see Jay and ask him what the capital is next time.
I think he's got it now.
Okay. But no, so this upcoming season, as our boys get older, we really want to give them that national recognition. The goal isn't to win rings and to be the best. It's to get these kids ready for the next level, be it high school, be it potentially a college scholarship. So we have some boys now that are in 10th, varsity 11th, that these national tournaments help give them exposure. You have On the Radar, Hoop Scene, Made Hoops, and then there's circuit tournaments like Under Armour, Adidas, and Nike all have their own circuits. So our goal and aspiration isn't so much to go out there and win a bunch of rings, but getting these kids in front of the right recruiters as they get older. And then for the younger divisions, obviously, always develop the talent, just get better at basketball.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and sometimes, just being really good at your local high school isn't enough to get seen. And it sounds like what you guys are doing with some of these tournaments are putting like you said, I love how you say it's not about winning the rings, it's about getting these kids looks and opportunities to get to the next level. And that's fantastic. And that's so important in this day and age, especially with everything going on with Huddle and social media and all that. You can get your stuff out there, but they want to see you playing in these best tournaments. There was a tournament, I used to live in North Augusta, South Carolina, and they have a big basketball tournament there too. I forget if it's high school or whatever it may be, but it made me think of that. I get overwhelmed when you start talking about this kind of stuff because I try to keep track of what it all is and what it all means. I mean, it's the same thing with any sport organization. We were talking about Little League Baseball yesterday, and you've got the Little League World Series, but that's just one organization that has a on-TV tournament, but you've got all these other organizations, and it sounds like basketball is kind of very similar. How do you go about finding the right tournaments to get into?
And that's a great question. Part of it's trial and error and making some mistakes, but the reality is you hear a lot AAU travel basketball.
Yeah.
AAU was one of the original organizations, the Amateur Athletic Union. Then there was YBOA, Youth Basketball of America. And there was Junior NBA and US basketball or USA Basketball. So now there's just literally dozens, if not hundreds of different organizations that host, and finding the right ones are a big key to doing a successful program for your kids in terms of getting them those looks. You guys remember, right? Like when we grew up, college coaches and scouts came to the high school game.
Yeah.
Those days are done,
Yeah.
at least in the basketball world. So are you going to drive to Marietta to see two kids play, or are you going to go to Atlanta and see 200 to recruit from?
Yeah.
So we've really identified that as an opportunity to help these kids at those opportunities. But in terms of your question and finding the right places to play, there's some great websites like Exposure Events that list tournaments in baseball. Like use Perfect Game has a great platform, right? So the reality is just trial and error. Word of mouth, the more you're on the circuit, the more you're out travel. This will be our 4th year. You get to learn the coaches and the places to play. Yeah. So we've definitely made some mistakes and played in some pretty bad venues, but we've also played in some of the best in the country. So.
Yeah, and that's all part of that learning process and putting your kids in the right places. So if somebody wanted to get involved and try out, what do they need to do?
Oh, great question. Thanks for bringing it up. We'll be trying out multiple locations tomorrow. You can go to the Gulf Coast Warriors Facebook page, their Instagram. I want to say we're at First United Methodist Church for the younger divisions, 5th grade through 7th grade from 10 to 1. And then we'll switch over to North Bay Haven from about 1 to 3:30, 4 o'clock for 8th, 9th, and 10th. And then because of the response we had, we also have a tryout in Bozeman, believe it or not, at 1 o'clock for 5th grade. So really excited about where we're headed, not only for us, but other organizations. There's just a lot of opportunity for kids to play now that weren't here 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's just, obviously having 2 young kids. One's in middle school now, so it's a little more driving, but less stressful. And trying to put your kid in the right place at the right age, and people like yourself and who've combined with these other coaches, it's a huge group effort to make this stuff happen. And because just as trying to figure it out on your own is a daunting task. That's for sure. That is for sure.
Yeah, and I think parents too, take solace in the fact that there's an opportunity to do something. I hate that cliche of keep them off the streets and keep them busy and keep them away from Fortnite, but you know how I feel. I think basketball is the greatest game on the planet. So the more opportunities we have, be it tournaments, rec leagues, travel basketball, it's exciting to see not only the coaches and the players, but the parents have really bought in around the county. I see a Southern Elite Sports basketball shirt at Publix pretty much every day. It's just really exciting to see how many people have really gotten into the community of basketball here.
Yeah, and how did it all kind of start with what you were like? How did this all come to be with what you were doing?
That's a great story. So grew up in the Midwest where basketball's king. We don't talk SEC football. We talk winter signings in basketball up there.
We talk rock chalk.
Yeah, absolutely. So long story short, in 2018, I got a chance to meet Brent Dillard, who was the owner-operator of SES, Southern Elite Sports. He had kept going after COVID, after Michael. Just nothing stopped him from playing sports and having kids out there. So I was very fortunate to meet him on a day where he had another opportunity open. I said, yeah, I'd love to be involved. And ever since then, it's really blossomed. So it's not, again, just Brent or myself or anyone else. We have 47 coaches in basketball. We have how many in flag football? Right around the same number, right? There's no way we can do this without parent involvement, good coaching, good facilities, good venues. So for me, it was partnering with Brent and then just him and I building what we could in sports here in Bay County. A lot of the coaches that Brent knows that were in that league have been with Brent, near 10 years now. And become more than just coaches. They're friends. It's fun to see.
It's one big happy family. Yeah. And you guys do such a good job, with the referee side of things. We've talked about that before. And, David knows Coach Olds and those guys. But you've got a core group of referees that seem to really, without those guys, you don't have anything going.
Well, yeah, some of the parents and coaches, we need new ones. But overall, I think everyone's pretty happy.
Yeah.
But no, you've been out there. You've seen that. We have some overzealous, or I like to say overambitious fans, at some games, but that's exciting too. I'd rather them rooting for their kid on the field a little bit aggressively than sitting at the house on the computer.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously we've been involved with Southern Elite Sports, and it's changed my kids' lives. It's changed our lives. I wouldn't have ever thought I'd been coaching so many youth sports, but at the same time, if you guys didn't bring volleyball to the table, Ryan's probably not playing middle school volleyball right now. So there's just the journey and the path, but just watching what you guys do and the passion you have for growing youth sports is truly admirable. Watching what you guys do, that's for sure.
And I want to throw this out there too, because it's really important. A lot of organizations do this, but with the Warriors, we absolutely make sure that they follow a code of conduct. If you're not a good family member, if you're having trouble at school, you can't play basketball. You don't make your grades, you can't play basketball. And we're really proud of that because we have had some very talented players we either had to suspend or, hey, we'll see you next season, just to get those focus and priorities in line. So I do want to stress that too. It's not about winning, it's also about developing these young men and women off the court as well.
Yeah, I mean, and that's only going to set them up for success. If they have all that talent and they can figure out those other points when they're trying to make it to that next level, that's what is going to set them up for success. So love to hear that you guys are doing it. You're holding people accountable.
Yeah, and you know what, for as sad as it to say, for some of these guys, that's their motivation to, I've got to get good grades or I can't play basketball. So.
Yeah. Hey, whatever that motivation is, it doesn't really matter as long as it's making some stuff happen. Before we hit this break, there was some breaking news that just came out. David, I'll let you hit the sounder if you can find it quickly. I kind of threw that on you.
Breaking news.
The Ravens have signed Jadeveon Clowney. What do y'all think about that one?
It's about 3 years too late.
Yeah,
I agree with that, but I like it though. They need some extra depth there, and I think it's good for one reason and one reason only. Hey, he was on the Browns last year, so
yeah, little inside information.
I mean,
divisional.
Are you a Browns fan?
No, I'm a Titans fan.
Okay.
I'm a Titans fan, but
there's a few people that are Browns fans, right? Jim Brandt, he's a Browns fan.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, he's signed.
Must be miserable.
Tough life. What were we talking about? When we were talking about something with Alan earlier, I was going to jump into the Johnny Manziel thing because I forget what it was. But anyway, I know we have to probably take our top of the hour break about that time.
Yeah.
About that time. We're joined by Chris Paul here in studio, taking the big seat, filling shoes of Jay Henley. You're listening to the Inside Drive. When we get back, it'll be the afternoon.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Here is C.J. Stroud, the Texans quarterback, after last night's performance.
One mistake on national television just blows it all up. But, it's cool. I just keep growing and keep learning, man. It's
going to be highs and lows, man.
One play blows it all up.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah. It's okay.
It's the Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings from 9 till 11. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Friday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, sunshine and a high of 92 with a moderate breeze out of the west-southwest at 13 miles per hour. For tonight, clear skies and a low near 82. Tomorrow, sunny and a high around 92. For Sunday, a mixture of mostly sunshine and a possibility of thunderstorms and a high of 93. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you tired of hearing 2 weeks when you call to get your boat worked on? Hey folks, it's Chris Kramer with Kramer Marine and Outdoor, and we'll get you in and back out on the water as quick as possible. We're a full-line Yamaha outboard dealer and Suzuki outboard dealer, and we have master-trained certified mechanics on site. So if it's just an annual service, electronics install, trolling motor install, or all the way up to a full repower, we can take care of you. So stop by and see us in the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd next to Bill Kramer GM, or call us at 850-851-0453.
Your biggest investment is your home. Protect it while also improving its appearance with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. We have sand, mulch, gravel, or lay down decorative stone, all available for pickup and delivery. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Imagine the moment you proudly pull up to your home that you've worked so hard for, enhanced by quality mulch, decorative stones, and more. Let's make it happen today. Request a quote online at earthworkspc.com or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the land you live on.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
And the Braves are back in front.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe, ESPN Northwest Florida. Do you suffer from political talk radio fatigue?
We know that under the 99% rate, the U.S. economy
Tune into the most fun and exciting new radio show on the Gulf Coast. It's The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
Yeah, welcome Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. As I always say, I think we're the only talk radio show or sports talk radio show in the country that comes into their second hour on Afternoon Delight. It's just, it just makes sense here for the Inside Drive. But now we're joined by Rusty Cook here in studio. Rusty, how you doing today?
Great, man. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. And you've been helping the Gulf Coast Warriors out?
Yes, sir. Yeah, kind of got on board. Of course, any of the teams around here that need help or gym time, I've been helping them for a while, but kind of jumped on board. Going to take a team with them and see if we can help some kids.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. And hey, David, don't go. You got to go somewhere real quick. Okay, real quick, because Chris has got some trivia for us to play with 2 Dolphins tickets on the line. Yeah.
Give me like 5 seconds.
He'll be right back. But the Gulf Coast Warriors. It's exciting stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I've been a part of travel ball organizations before, and
for a long time.
Long time. Been part of some really successful ones, and the key to being successful is getting the adults on the same page.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot easier to get the kids on the same page than it is to get the adults.
That's not an issue. But when you get a group of men on the same page for a common goal, it can be a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I used to run an organization called the Gulf Coast Thunder, and I had Chris Cox and Jermaine Daniels, and you couldn't get between us guys. We were thick as thieves, as they said. And that was the success of the program. Well, besides all the talented kids who won the basketball games, actually, but
that's just part of it.
That was it's the most important thing.
Yeah. Well, we were talking earlier on the air about culture and stuff like that. And it's like you said, I love it if you've got a group of people all working towards the same goal. That's when there's a lot of successful things. And that's in that's with your employer, that's with your job, it's with your sports teams, with your family, all that stuff.
And it's not, in my opinion, it's not that hard to build with the kids and the players.
Yeah.
Because you can demand certain things from them.
Of course.
It's harder to demand the things from the adults. They kind of got to buy in. So if we can get, the coaches and to come together and be on the same page, it can be tremendous for these young men.
Yeah. That's awesome. Dave, you want to jump into some of this trivia action? I already know I'm going to probably lose because it has to do what? NBA?
All basketball.
All basketball.
Wait, we're playing trivia?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you're in.
Where's that camera right there? Also playing for that beautiful ring.
Yeah, that beautiful ring right there, yes. So, but yeah, no.
Well, Ryan, what do you think? I've got 10 questions. Do you want to do everyone answers and the most correct answers at the end, or do you want to do first to get it right and we go from there?
We do the most correct answers.
I'll just echo all the right answers.
Yeah. But what if you don't know what the right answer is? I'll keep track.
Okay, so do you want to go question by question, or you want to...
Yeah, let's go question by question, kind of stir it up a little bit here.
All right, super boring question. What is the diameter of a basketball hoop in inches? What is the diameter of the hoop?
Man. Is it who gets the closest?
What are you trying to do to it?
I like that, though. That's a good trivia question. All right, diameter of hoop.
Are you Googling it?
No, I got Ryan.
He says he's not.
I'm building a spreadsheet real quick.
Oh, you're searching
David,
it up. I got
Rusty.
it.
No searching up going here. All right. What David, you want to go first?
All right, I'll go 33 and a quarter. No, there's no way. Oh, well, 33 and a quarter.
Is that inches?
Yeah.
Okay.
33 and a quarter. It's just shy of 3 feet.
Oh, wait, diameter.
You can redo.
Nah, it's all good. I'll just stick with it because I have no idea.
All right, 33 and a quarter. I can tell you the diameter of a golf cup. That's 4.5 inches.
There you go.
Sometimes it feels like 2. But, man, I'm trying to visualize. I know the diameter of the ball is 29.5 inches. So let's call it another 8 inches on each side. So that's another 16. So let's call it 45 inches.
44.
It's 18 inches.
The diameter.
Diameter, not the...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
circumference.
Right.
Oh, the basketball. That's the circumference. Dang it.
Okay, see, I told you I was terrible at this.
So I don't know if you want to do closest to. I think that's a big 0 for everyone.
Yeah, that's a goose egg for everybody. I like that.
I was the closest, though.
You were. Closest Price is Right style. Closest without going over.
Yeah.
All right. Question 2. In the 2000s, who was the first player to record back-to-back 50-point games? Not in a season, back-to-back.
Tim Duncan.
I'm not searching it up. I typed in Duncan.
It's not going to be the obvious.
You want a hint? ACC player.
I'm going to just go a wild answer. Antoine Jameson.
Ooh, good guess. Was he ACC?
North Carolina.
Yeah. There you go.
I know he had some 50. I know he had a few 50-point games. I just don't.
A lot of this, I'm just going to have to pass.
Just take a guess.
But I don't want the guess to be stupid like my 45-inch diameter.
That's what she said.
That's a huge hoop. That is a massive hoop. I don't know where I would.
Kind of hoop.
Yeah, makes it a little easier. You got to play with a beach ball. I'll just say Kobe Bryant. I know he didn't play in the ACC because he went right from high school.
Coach Cook's on the board. It was Antoine Jameson.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Nice.
I just remember him having a few 50-point games. I don't know that back-to-back, honestly.
So we've got one correct answer thus far.
Right,
2 questions.
Question 3. Who is the first player to win 8 NBA scoring titles?
First player to win 8.
First one to 8
scoring titles. Oh, man.
Will.
See, I was going to go Will. I'll go Bill Russell.
Gotcha. I'll go Kareem.
Michael Jordan.
This was the
obvious one.
Hey, Alan, if you're still listening to the show, I need you to text me these answers, please, if you're listening.
Keep those Twitter fingers hot.
Yes, yeah, just fast. That's all we got to do.
All right, number 4. How many times have the Minneapolis/LA Lakers appeared in the NBA Finals? I'll do closest to on this.
Closest to appeared in the NBA Finals. Man, I'll go first. I'll say 29.
22.
17.
Ryan's on the board. 31.
Yes. That's because it was a guess. That's why I had a shot.
I just don't remember those Minneapolis days very well.
I just knew it had to be a lot. Appearances.
Right,
It was Lakers made like the NBA Finals how many straight seasons in a row?
Mm-hmm. All right, this one has been debated, but it was Googled last time we did this with our Warriors team for team trivia. Who is the shortest starting player in NBA history?
Okay.
Starting player.
Had to start the game.
I mean,
I've only got one name in my head, so.
My guess would be Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah, that would have been my guess as well.
So I'll go Spud then, because that was going to be mine. Was going to be Muggsy.
You can still say Muggsy.
No, I'm
going to
go with Spud. I'll go Spud.
Oh, way to keep that goose egg. It was Muggsy Bogues.
Oh man. All right, that's okay.
Like 5'3", right? Like,
yes,
that's unbelievable. I mean,
it's like I don't know what's crazier, Deuce Vaughn or you got to see Deuce playing first. Though.
Yeah. No, he's just not walking under Shaq's legs.
Yeah,
that uvula.
It'll get you every time.
All right, question 6. Which team won the first ever NBA championship? I only need the city. Which team won the first ever NBA championship?
City. Indiana's a state. I don't know. Dave, what do you got?
I'll go Boston. I know I'm wrong, but Boston.
How about Minneapolis?
That's a good one. What are the oldest teams out there? I don't know. The Knicks. Or New York, sorry.
The Knickerbockers?
You said the city.
It was the Philadelphia Warriors.
Philly.
I would have never guessed Philly, so.
All right, question 7. Which player has the most steals in one season in NBA history? In one season.
Most steals.
I know who the steals all-time leader is, but...
That's probably a good guess. I don't know. We'll say Dennis Rodman. I know that's wrong, but
John Stockton.
That's
the mailman.
I'm gonna say Stockton.
Alvin Robertson with 301 in one season.
Oh yeah, of course. No,
my boy Alvin. Yeah. What was the question before that? Before that, Chris?
Which team won the first ever NBA championship?
Okay, that was and nobody got that right. First ever. I think I'm doing this right. Championship. All right.
I think Coach Cook might have you on this one because it's definitely a hoops question that most hoopers know. Who holds the record for most assists? Who holds the records for most assists in one NBA game?
In one NBA game. John Stockton?
Stockton. Watch it be Big O.
Yeah, I don't know. Stockton would be my guess, but that's probably not right.
Scotty Skiles for the Chicago Bulls.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
never.
I knew he led the league in assists one year, but
We're so good at this.
For what, 8 or 9?
Anything else we say about basketball the rest of the day, nobody's going to believe it.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
All right, question 9. Which NBA player holds the record for most rebounds in a career?
Most rebounds in a career. Dennis Rodman. I feel confident, kind of.
I'm going to go Kareem.
I'll go, Karl Malone.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk, Mr. Wilt the Still Chamberlain.
He was going to be my
23,924 rebounds.
Golly.
That's a lot of rebounds.
All right, question 10. I think everyone should get this. Who did the Golden State Warriors beat in 2018 to win the World Championship?
Cavaliers.
Yeah, Cleveland.
Cavs.
LeBron.
All right, that's Cleveland. I guess we got to go to a tiebreaker, right?
No, I think Rusty's got the dub. He's got 4. I've got 2. David's got 1.
Fantastic.
Hey, got on the board, baby.
Coach Cook, congratulations. Here's your ring.
You don't know what it's just a relief to win this. I'm a basketball coach.
Me and David were talking. We're like, we got to let him win this thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna act like I don't know anything about NBA. That was
really
that's what I was doing.
Yeah, I almost let Alvin Robertson slip for a second.
Yeah,
I was like,
then you dialed it back down. You did good. You did good. Quick little update on the FedEx Cup, the BMW Championship. Chris Kirk is out ahead now at -8 with Corey Connors, Scotty Scheffler, and Ricky Fowler, as well as Matt Fitzpatrick, all on -5 with their rounds underway. Still have yet to have Rory McIlroy and Brian Harman tee off. They both shot 65 yesterday, but the birdies are certainly aplenty out there in a very difficult Southern Hills golf course up there in Illinois. But yeah, exciting. What do you guys think about the? I'm going to ask everybody that comes in the studio, the whole PGA Tour Live thing. What are y'all's thoughts?
I'm not a fan. I'm more, I'm getting older in age.
So,
I just grew up with the PGA and now with the Saudi Group investment. I think it's good for the golfers financially, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I don't know this world like you do, but almost like conference realignment. I miss Missouri, Kansas. I'm going to miss the Red River rivalry in Big 12. So I see golf maybe going down that road as well. It's just chasing the big money tournaments, and that's what matters.
Yeah, and that's it's kind of it's interesting now, especially with the schedule of events coming out for next year on the PGA Tour with these signature events, which there's 12 of them, and only 3 of them have a cut, which I thought was bizarre. But it's all kind of been. The way I look at it is, some of the players started barking at the PGA Tour. They weren't getting a fair share of money, yada, yada, yada. It's always about money. Live Tour gets formed. All these guys jump. They get paid lots of money. What happens? The PGA Tour then goes into it. They haven't officially done anything with the PIF yet, but then they've totally reworked their schedule with these elevated events, making the FedEx Cup payout even higher. And I think each one of these signature events is $25 million purse. Wow. So I think the Live kind of forced their hand a little bit. I think they were really worried about John Rahm and some other big name guys jumping ship if they didn't make a change. But yeah, the traditional golf fan I think is been disappointed in the situation.
Yeah, sports for me is so much tradition, and the more that money gets involved, the more the traditions go away, and that's tough for me. That's I'm kind of old school when it comes to those types. Chris talked about conference realignments and stuff. That's hard, man, because you're going to lose some of those traditions. Same thing with golf. I mean, that's a tough one for me.
Yeah, it's between conference realignment, the PGA Tour Live stuff. We had Dave Diebold, he was a tight end for Michigan in 1989 to 1992, was recruited by Bo, and we were asking him some questions about it, and he's like, why not just take 64 teams and call it college football? Pull them out of the conferences, just have it college football, and then leave all your other conferences, because all those other non-revenue sports, obviously that's the big talk right now, is what happens to these sports that can't afford to travel all over the country. What are the schedules going to look like? But yeah, it's the almighty dollar, those TV contracts.
The little man is always going to be the one that pays the price.
That's it.
I mean,
Ryan, how does the FedEx Cup standings affect next year with these changes in golf?
So great question. So they changed it a couple years ago. Now there's only 3 FedEx Cups events. We're on the second event right now, and you had to be in the top 70 to make the first event. The top 50 automatically get into the signature events next year. And then there's a couple ways, like they've added, it's really complicated now. It just seems like every time we have changes, it's overly complex. But they have ability, based on like 2 or 3 tournaments leading up to one of the signature events, other people can get in based on their performance. But making the top 50 into the BMW Championship was key to get into those signature events. That way you have an opportunity, those mega purses. And a lot of them don't have cuts. which is exactly what everybody complained about the Live Tour not having.
Right.
Those cuts and all that stuff. So just
more importantly, how that affects our DraftKings weekly golf matchup.
That's a different story because those will be smaller events. There won't be any cut. It's going to be weird. That's for sure. Yeah, we have Keith Fleming's on with us every Wednesday talking a lot about DraftKings, and he's been doing a really good job, but he's picked a winner, I want to say, 75% of the time in his draft. Now, I always haven't used his picks either, though, because I feel like why trust somebody that knows what they're doing? Why deviate and then lose? I don't know. But yeah, it's these tournaments are weird because, like this one, there's only 50. Next week, there's only going to be 30. And everybody's very equal in price and, all that kind of stuff. But we're going to have to get our football one back up and running here pretty soon, too. Yeah. Hard to believe. Flying by. That's for sure. But yeah, golf's certainly been flipped upside down in the last couple of years, and I don't think the Live Tour is going anywhere. I don't think the PGA Tour is going anywhere. I think the PIF is just going to be the one supporting it financially, because if they don't come to an agreement now, I don't know how the PGA Tour is going to be able to pay for all these purses. Right. And what about then? There's so many other events that aren't these huge events. You talk about the non-revenue sports in college with the conference realignments. You talk about all these other, I'm not going to call them one-off, but we'll call them smaller non-signature events that are on the PGA Tour when these guys are playing. Those purses are going to be so small. There's enough people coming through the pipeline, but our sponsors are going to start pulling out on some of these smaller events because they're not drawing the big names because they're all in the signature events. Right. I feel like everybody's going to kind of go to that Tiger Woods-ish schedule where they're only going to be playing in these signature events in the majors, which can be a good thing for all the golfers trying to make it on the PGA Tour, giving them more opportunity, I guess, to play. It's just wild times, both college football and in golf.
How bad is that disparity in purse, like, the John Deere Classic or the International versus, say, one of these major events?
Oh, well, these signature events are going to have $25 million purses, where some of these one-off events, you're talking about, $8, $9, $10 million for the purse.
Just $10 million?
Yeah, just 10. Winner gets $600,000 versus if you win one of these signature events, you get $3.6 million. But they're just catching up to Live, I guess. But what do you guys think of Phil Mickelson's gambling stuff? Did it make you like him any less, or maybe you didn't like Phil to begin with? I don't know.
For me, it's the relationships, right? Like, it has nothing to do with the gambling, but it sounds like he did some people wrong. Yeah. So that part of it, of course not. But guys like Charles Barkley, most guys I know will bet down on something somewhere in their life. So I don't care too much about the gambling aspect, but just how that relationship he had, what I heard. I don't know if it's correct or not.
Yeah, that's the thing. You never really know this day and age what's actually happening. It was like the Michael Orr story, going back and forth between what he's saying, what the Toohey family's saying. As you get further along, you just never really know what's true or not in this day and age. But yeah, Phil gambled $1 billion in his career and lost $100 million in the book that came out by the famous gambler. I think his last name was Walker, or might have been Walter, if I'm not mistaken. But his big thing everybody got excited about was they said that he tried to place a bet on the Ryder Cup in 2012 to win. I don't think the bet ever got made, but that brought a topic of conversation. If you're betting on yourself to win, is that a bad thing?
Right.
Now, losing, you can have an impact. And then we got in the conversation, NFL guys can bet on other sports. They just can't be in their team's facilities, and golfers supposedly can't bet on golf, but I don't think that's a federal law or anything like that. So, betting on yourself, Pete Rose obviously is the most famous
that comes to mind. First thing comes to mind.
Yeah. Pete Rose, and there was a lot of point shaving scandals back in the day in basketball as well, both college and NBA. So when we get back, if you guys want to talk a little NFL?
Sure. All
right, we'll do some divisional breakdowns when we get back. We'll do some ceilings and floors and who you think is going to win that division. I know Chris thinks Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl. Hopefully, maybe playing the Niners again. That would be exciting. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
While he was coach there, he allowed murders, rapists, drug dealers, and the whole world to that was kind of the offensive line. And that's why the NCAA has no credibility. Right. Stuff is just like this is why we all look at him and go,
no, you listen to me, Coach. It's my show now.
Weekday morning 7 to 9, ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Friday afternoon. The remainder of the day, sunshine and 92 with a moderate breeze coming out of the west-southwest around 13 miles per hour. For tonight, clear skies and a low near 82. Tomorrow, sunny and a high around 92. For Sunday, a variety of mostly sunshine and a possibility of thunderstorms and a high of 93. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With summer winding down and another school year upon us, That Boot Store invites the entire family to shop for the widest selections of Western and work clothing in the area at prices you can afford. Don't forget to drive carefully. The roads will be busy. A reminder from That Boot Store. Open Tuesday through Thursday 9 to 5, Friday and Saturday 9 to 5:30. Next to Billboard Kia on 15th Street, Panama City. And remember, God is good all the time. That Boot Store.
Chuck was terrible at fishing. He spent many frustrating hours attempting to get results he saw from internet videos, aggravating trial and error fishing trips, and misguided advice from well-intended friends. Chuck is happy now with his newfound success after he visited Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, where we keep fishing fun, simple, and successful. See us soon at Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
You hear it first. Sports talk right now. Back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
I know it seems a bit overwhelming at first.
Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
Something makes me think you'll get used to it.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Real quick before we get into some football, you guys were talking about who's going to win the NCAA basketball championship next year. What do you guys think about the NIL and all this stuff, how it's affected college basketball more specifically than college football?
Coach, what do you think?
Parity.
Creates more parity?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, you get, some of these smaller programs are run very well. They're coached very well. They just have never had the athletes that some of the blue bloods and bigger schools do. The NIL, one of these guys who are highly recruited is not getting some playing time. There's time to jump ship, prove themselves, and it gives that school an opportunity. And I believe we've seen it in the NCAA tournament the last couple seasons.
Yeah, I'm with Coach Cook. The only thing that I think is a little bit of variance is, I'm a blue blood fan. I love Kansas basketball. And the last 2 years has been, just like Coach said, players that aren't getting minutes transfer to another program to get minutes. And then we, grabbed Hunter Dickinson from Michigan, 3-year All Big Ten starter. So other than the roster turnover every year, I'm kind of a fan of it too. I think the San Diego States and FAUs of this world have a much better shot in today's climate than what it was 10 years ago.
Well, it's funny you're talking about FAU. We had, I don't know how long ago, we had Remy Graham. I used to work for his dad with Kemper Sports, and he plays basketball at Troy, and he's now in the portal. And one of the teams he was talking to prior to the end of last season was FAU. Well, now, because of the run FAU had, and you mentioned it off the air, they have five starters returning. And, so now there's really it's not a great scenario because of that. But it's great to see that in a day and age where everybody's just jumping ship. And is it easier to be loyal in basketball because of the size of the rosters?
Easier to be loyal?
Versus like a college football team. Obviously not if you're the, quarterback, wide receiver, star player.
I wouldn't say so. I mean,
or maybe the opposite because it's such a small roster?
Yeah, to me, basketball's tough because of the small roster.
Yeah.
There's only 5 guys on the court, and, there's only one ball out there.
Yeah, and to Coach's point, right, like teamwork and cohesiveness, if on that level, on those true blue blood programs in D1, you got 5 guys, there's about 10 that are thinking they need to be on the court. So managing that is going to be even more difficult in the NIL world.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy. We were down at Balling on the Beach in Miami, and have you heard of the Jolly Twins, Coach? Mm-hmm. Fifth grade identical twin boys that play travel basketball. They have a $450,000 NIL in 5th grade. They've already signed. and I mean, when they walked through the court, they had security as 5th graders. It was crazy.
That's crazy.
As a traditionalist, again, sports are changing.
Yeah,
it's definitely.
And it'll be interesting to see, 5 years from now, what are they going to be doing? Are they actually going to, are they signed to go somewhere or not? I mean, how does that work?
So, have you followed the Baby Gronk story?
Yeah. Now he's like out of it now, isn't he?
And the kid's I'm assuming a good football player, but he's not an elite. His dad just marketed him really well.
Yep, and is this the same thing? I mean, they're obviously really good basketball players, but there's money to be made on their name, image, and likeness because of the social media world.
Sure.
Yeah, but what do you think, Dave?
I'm enjoying listening to the coaches talk about it.
That's true. That's true. I was going to... Cliff Ellis. He's Coastal Carolina's head coach. He's from this area. I've known him for a long time. We haven't had him on in a while. But last time I talked to him, I asked him, what about the NIL, the transfer portal? And, he's an old school coach. He's, I think, the third or fourth winningest coach in Division I history. He's like, I absolutely hate it. He's like, we don't have money at Coastal Carolina to keep good players. He said, I keep getting players coming in, and the good ones that succeed for me for a year, they just go right out. So the future of program, obviously Coastal's not competing, to try to get into the NCAA tournament, although they have in the past. When I went to school there, I think they beat Winthrop one year for the Big South Championship and ended up going. But anyway, what happens to programs like that? Do they still always exist because there's a need to play basketball? Or do you see, similar to football where we're moving to these super conferences, does that happen in basketball too for some of these smaller programs?
I think the NIL goes both ways, though. I mean, kids do leave, but, a kid at a smaller school, where is he going to be in the rotation at, whatever Power 5 school he decides to go to?
Yep.
And then you have that same kid who's 7th, 8th, 9th in the rotation at a Power 5 who says, hey, I need to go somewhere that I can get some more playing time. So I think it works. I really think it works both ways. Now, again, I'm not a huge fan of it myself. I'm more of a traditionalist, in those sense. I don't even, in Florida, high school sports is the Wild West.
Yeah.
They can.
When we moved here, I was like, wait, you can just go somewhere else?
I mean, the kids are going to go to the schools that are winning. If it's a good, solid program with, with a good culture, that's where they're going to go. And a lot of people don't like that. I would rather it be that, they go where they're zoned for. But and us coming from a coach who probably benefited, and when I coached high school basketball, kids come to my school because we won.
Yeah.
But it just, there's so many variables when it comes to that stuff.
It's wild.
It makes it tough. It really does.
And I wanted to ask Coach Cook a question on that. So when you were coaching high school ball here and you had a very successful program, how do you manage kids wanting to come from other programs? Like, I'm a traditionalist too, right? Do you tell them to stay at the other school, or I'd love to have you on my team? Like, that's a new age for high school coaching, right?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, because we talked about adults earlier, when kids are moving around, I'm going to be honest with you, a huge percentage of the time it's adults pushing them.
Yeah.
And they're a lot of times getting fed bad information. So you kind of got to, as a coach, you got a kid saying, I'm coming to your school. Are you going to say, no, you can't come?
Right.
But then you have to look at the situation of the kid too. I told a kid who was going to drive an hour to our school, I told the parents, I said, you can't do that.
Yeah.
I said, that's dangerous. I said, putting them on the road at, 5:30 in the morning and driving through traffic home. I said, he's a great player. Love to have him. But that's, so you got to look at, again, as a coach, you're there for the kids and you have to look out. You want to win games, so you don't want to tell people they can't come, but
But like you just said, it as a coach, you are there for the kids.
Absolutely.
The kids are not there for the coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that gets blurred with some people for sure.
Yeah. And I'm going to be completely transparent. It gets, coaching is kind of fraternity, and when kids leave and move around, it puts a strain on that sometimes. Yeah. If I hear of a kid coming, I pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm hearing this. It's in my opinion, it's that coaches, you want to inform them, let them know what's going on, and that's how you try to save some of that. But it's, again, all that stuff I'm talking about that you have to deal with, I would rather not deal with that.
Yeah.
Just X's and O's, right?
Yeah, let's go.
Just these are the kids that are going to be on my team because they're zoned from my school, and we'll do the best.
I could talk to you all day about how coaching, I've only coached on the high school level. It's the X's and O's part is such a small part of it. I wish it was all of it, but it's just not.
It's just not the reality.
Yeah.
Ryan, do you have time for a question? We got to go on break, but
no, we got like 12
you
minutes.
and I are affected too, right? Ryan, your kids are either in high school or out, right? They've all aged out, for lack of a way to put it.
Correct.
All right. So you have a tough situation, as do I, as we go forward. Your son's an exceptional athlete, and I think that where he's zoned, without going too much into specifics, like he has a choice to make of, is he going to follow zone, or is he going to go play at the best opportunity in those sports? Like, how do you feel as a parent about that? I'm torn.
Yeah, I'm not ready for that. And I think about it, and I'm like, he's still young, but I mean, what happens if he does end up being pretty good at something? What do you do at that point? But then it goes back to what you were talking about before with your travel basketball organizations and putting kids in front of the right people. Here's where I'm at. If you go to the school that you're supposed to go to, but you're doing all the other things outside of that to get the looks, if you're good enough, somebody's going to find you, right? Who told us that last week?
I mean, that's an old adage, though, right? They're going to find you if you're good enough. Is that do y'all feel that way?
Agree. I think we're in a smaller market. It's more difficult to get looks for a talented athlete than Atlanta or Birmingham.
100%. Yeah, but if you're doing the right things outside of the high school sports, like you guys are with the travel basketball, playing in the national tournaments and all that stuff. But
but everyone's all over the Sneed's running back.
Yeah, Jason Patterson. He's going to Cincinnati. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that's an example right there. You know?
But that's where you can use the social media and the huddle and all that stuff. If you can put in that effort and that time to get that stuff going. But yeah, I'm totally dodging your question.
Right, I know.
And I've always kind of joked around, if I could take, if several of the kids from our flag teams, I know one definitely plays tackle and he's going to be a stud, but if I could take some of these other kids that may not play tackle, but I know they're good enough, and we can kind of keep going together, that may have an impact in the future at certain places. But and what does the population look like here in the next 10 years, or the next 5 years? Is there more growth in certain areas of the county that's going to give a larger pool of talent? I don't know. Let me ask you guys this question on the flip side. Do you think Bay County sports as a whole would be better if people had to go where they were zoned?
I think it'd be more competitive.
Yeah,
I've only lived here about 22 years, but I see cycles. Like when I first moved here, Rutherford football was the game. Rusty has built his basketball program there. It's, in my opinion, the best in the city now, in the county. So the reality is, I think that it's cyclical. Yeah. But I'm traditionalist like Rusty. I mean, I want my son to go where he's zoned. If they're bad that year, let's make them better.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, man.
I think we're in a situation where we're not a small city, but we're not a big city, and we have so many schools. The balance of I can't say we have too many schools, because obviously, we have
our supply and demand is kind of out of whack.
It's a little bit out of balance, in my opinion, where, just say the east side of town, if you put Rutherford and Bay's athletes together, you'd probably have a powerhouse.
Yeah.
It would be a 7A school probably, but you understand what I'm saying? So I just feel like, the number of schools to the population of kids is just kind of we're in a kind of an in-between, where Tallahassee, they got tons of schools, but they got tons of kids.
Yeah.
Pensacola, same thing. Jacksonville, especially Jacksonville. Don't I know?
Yes. But like what you just said, you go to the school you're zoned for. If y'all aren't any good, you get better. You work harder. And that's where I think this whole kids being weird, or talking to Demon, who played for Rutherford and Bay back in the early 2000s. It was either last Friday or maybe 2 Fridays ago. And he was just saying, there's a lot more, it's soft, for lack of a better word, because if you don't like what's happening, you can take your ball and go elsewhere.
I agree with that.
Lowers, in my opinion, that drives down the competitive edge and attitudes of people.
But let me ask this: we're talking about sports, but as a parent, are you gonna take your kid where you think they're gonna get the best education, and is anybody gonna question that?
Yeah, I don't think anybody could question that. But it's funny how nobody questions that, but they're gonna question the sports side of things.
No, that's my point.
But yeah,
I mean, we have a kid in our organization, Donovan, that's been with us since 4th grade, and he's going to Montverde this year. He got an athletic scholarship to play at Montverde, which is, you guys probably know, a premier sports factory. They're not there for, well, I shouldn't say that. The education is secondary. But long story short, it's exciting to see that development. He never would have had that opportunity without traveling, getting seen at some of these tournaments. So I support him. He's a wonderful kid, great academics, great team leader. But the reality is there's those options too now, that you might have a stud that plays for Coach Cook somewhere, and like his junior year, he's going to go to a private prep IMG kind of facility
to make that jump.
Yeah. So while we encourage that and we hate to see our best players go, I mean, it's great to see them get to that next level. So
I have taken kids out of town, drove them out of town to play AAU basketball.
Yeah.
At Tremello, right?
Yeah. I mean, but over the years I've done it.
Right.
But simply because, could I have coached them? Absolutely. But was it a better situation for the kid? That's what you have to do.
That's exactly what y'all both said. I heard it is whatever's best for the kid to get them to their goals, to the next level, whatever it may be, it's your job as a coach, and to make that happen. And if that's taking them to some other place and letting them succeed, then it's a detriment to your own team. That's just kind of the reality of it. But
it's kind of what we're doing with this Travel Gulf Coast Warriors. Like, we're swallowing our prides and combining organizations to give the best possible opportunity. I hate the word blessed, but we're blessed to have like Rusty with us as a coach. It's not a lot of kids are going to be able to get that benefit of what Rusty can bring them and help them teach. So, if people can swallow their pride and just put the best kids out there and really work on basketball, I think that is a huge, huge aspect. That get rid of the egos. Let's just play ball and let's get as many kids on the court as we can. Don't care who they play for, but it's better for the community. It's better for their chances. And it gives them more chances to play in different spots. So,
like you guys were talking about, you're trying to continue that pipeline, and I think the bigger the pipeline is, the more kids in that pipeline, the better everybody benefits as far as the high school level in the county.
Yeah, and I wanted to be, I'm no longer coaching high school basketball, but AAU is such a great avenue to help kids. I mean, you put them in the right places and their talent's there, they're going to get seen.
Yeah.
And Coach, tell me if you haven't seen this, because this is Ryan and I talk about this all the time. This is my favorite thing about youth sports in Bay County. So SES has been going, I've been with Brent about 5 years now, and I've known Rusty that whole time while we were hosting tournaments and getting to learn what he did for a living. And what I love seeing, Coach, is not so much the wins and the losses and the getting better, but the friendships that are made. Like, my son's going into 8th grade at Breakfast Point. Seeing him walk out and high-fiving other players from Jenks and Mowat and now Rutherford and other schools, just seeing the relationships that they know they're going to be possibly playing together in high school, but starting that at such a younger age is something I thought was sorely lacking in Bay County 5-7 years ago. Just that opportunity to start playing more competitive, not even basketball, but all sports.
Yeah.
The baseball scene here has exploded in youth sports.
Yes.
And it's exciting to see that in all sports. But for me, like, one of the biggest takeaways is seeing two kids that probably would not have gotten along or known each other become best of friends over a sport. So we love that about the Warriors and all travel orgs. It just brings the kids together, and down the road when they get to high school, they're going to be a much better team because they started together earlier.
Yeah, everything I do and say in career, it's relationships.
Yep.
I joke with my players. I was like, guys, y'all don't play for me anymore, but you're not getting rid of me. I'll be the old man in a nursing home. Y'all be like, man, will he please stop calling me?
Yeah, everything to success is built on relationships and
Absolutely.
what you can do. Let me ask you guys this while I got you both here. What would you say if a parent came to you and had a kid that liked basketball, hadn't really played it before? What would you say the age to start really getting? What would you say the age is to start traveling? Okay, I'll back that up.
That's a great question.
Yeah, because that's one of the things in this day and age. That's like the whole football thing. Like, when am I going to put Liam in pads? And I talk to so many coaches and people, and I'm like, they just say, just wait. But that's a whole different ball game, because that's a lot more physical sport. But if you got a kid plays basketball, has been doing well in rec, but maybe young, when do you start traveling? When does it matter to start traveling, I should say?
I mean, there's...
it's probably individually based on the kid.
No, but I mean, 8th grade, there are a lot of things and tournaments and things set up starting about that age. In my personal opinion, that's still a little young, but the way the industry is set up, it kind of starts there. In my opinion, under that, it's a lot of developmental, and if you're not focusing on that, because so much changes in a young man or a young woman playing basketball, puberty. They may be, I'm going to be honest, I've seen kids who are the best in their age group, 5th, 6th, 7th, and they are average by the time they're 9th grade.
Yeah.
So it's so much developmental at a young age, but then by the time they get 8th grade, 9th grade in high school, it's time, if you're really serious about it, it's time to start putting yourself out there. What do you think, Chris?
I agree with Rusty. I think that development is huge, especially at the younger ages. Rusty, how many times you watch a layup line in a travel tournament, they're going off the wrong foot? It's just the basics are not there. So I think development is huge, and it's okay to go out a couple of times, on the road and do that. But, again, we're at these big tournaments, and I see 3rd graders, and the score is 9-8 because they can't get the ball to the 10-foot rim.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not the best start. Like, let's start on those 8-foot rims, 9-foot rims, develop the skills, get the confidence, learn the mechanics. Are there kids that can play at that level in 3rd grade? Absolutely. Are there a lot of them? probably they shouldn't be spending thousands of dollars on travel
that's
basketball.
kind of my point. Yeah. Development. It's all about reps, and so that when you're ready to take that next step, it's kind of like golf. I talk about people always ask me, when should I get my kid into golf? When should I start taking lessons? And the brain, especially on the golf side, you're not really ready to understand cause and effect in a very complicated game until you're 7, 8 years old. If you're less than that, just put a club in their hand, point them in the right direction, let them figure out how to make contact.
So let me ask you this in comparison, because I think my son used to get frustrated at me when he was a young age. I wouldn't let him shoot three-pointers because I think it does more harm than it does good. Does that work that way in golf?
Yeah, you could certainly say that. So many people, even adults, they focus on the wrong things in golf when you're developing. I mean, going out there and hitting 40 drivers on the driving range does absolutely nothing for you. Now, spending an hour on the putting green and a half an hour on the chipping green and maybe hitting a few shots on the range, that's a whole other ballgame. Kind of like you're saying with the three-pointers. You're practicing the things that matter in the game situations. Nobody goes out there and practices 100 4-foot putts. But how many times in a competition that you're playing in are you going to have a 4-foot putt that matters? But nobody ever does it. And when you said that with the three-pointers, I mean, you're not always shooting three-pointers.
I mean, in basketball, you're at 4th, 5th grade, you're a lot of times creating bad habits.
Yeah.
I mean, you just are.
Yeah. David, I think we got to take a break. You guys are listening to The Inside Drive. We got 1 second to go. I figure we'll just continue this conversation because this is a lot of fun. Appreciate you guys being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course.
Colin Cowherd. Rookie quarterbacks against Bill Belichick are 6-24. Not a shock that the Texans in a rebuilding state look bad offensively, at least C.J. Stroud did. Facing Belichick as a rookie is like teaching your kid how to drive in New York City.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays, ESPN, Northwest Florida.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies, new and vintage cards, and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at instantReplaySportsCards.com.
Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, this is Tim.
Do y'all sell bait?
Yes, we seasonally stock live shrimp, live bull minnows, live sand fleas, live fiddler crabs, earthworms, night crawlers, crickets. We also stock frozen shrimp, sand fleas, mullets, squid, pre-rigged ballyhoo, bonita, stingray, cigar minnows, Boston mackerel, Spanish mackerel, and a few other miscellaneous baits. It's worth the drive to buy premium locally sourced bait from Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
Hello, this is Rick Vosser with RV of Panama City, your local Stormore portable building dealer, located at 2241 East Baldwin Road. Shopping for a garage, portable building, cabin? We build them anywhere from 8 to 16 foot wide, 10 feet to 60 feet long. We can do insulation, electricity, transom dormers, thermal windows. Come, let's customize a building together. Rick Vossen, Stormore Portable Building Dealer, Panama City.
Coming in hot.
So hot.
It'll be a hot one. Really hot. God damn. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Keep making noise! Keep making noise! Yeah!
And welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Hanging out with Chris Paul and Rusty Cook here in the studio, talking about youth sports and basketball and all that stuff. Parents out there, make sure you're not getting in the way of your kid developing and enjoying sports, because that's one of the things we see kind of in various. I mean, it's human nature. It's your kid, and one of the beautiful things that Coach Steph from the UA volleyball team, when we had our parents meeting, it was fantastic, and I loved it. She's like, do not coach from the sideline. Cheer, be excited, and she's like, here are all the reasons why not to. And it's so hard, especially if you're a coach and you're not able to coach, but just cheer on your kids, trust the process, don't get in the way, Because, I mean, how many you've probably seen in your both y'all's careers with sports, kids that have been, I don't want to use the word so strong as ruined, but didn't allow the growth that needed to happen because of parent situations.
I've seen it. I'm going to be honest, my kids play sports, and I had to set boundaries for myself. I had to realize, hey, the ride home is, I had to set a boundary and say, we'll talk a little, I'll encourage him a little bit, telling me that he did a great job, and we'll talk about it later. Now, I'm a coach, so we're going to talk about it later. But some of it is timing, and sitting in the stands is the wrong time.
Yeah.
The
100%.
ride home, I've seen kids pull out of the gym and already getting cussed out. They haven't even left the gym yet, and it's sad. And like you said, that can't be fun.
No.
I see kids taking a shot and looking in the stands.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of, so there's a time and place for it all. And most of all, you just want to be supportive. It's supposed to be fun.
Period. That's number one. It's a job when you make it to the pros.
Yeah.
But have it be fun growing up. But yeah, you see, and the one I hate the most is when you see it from coaches. That just drives me absolutely crazy. Coach, like you said it, you coach because of the kids, not because you want to be a coach and feed your ego and that kind of stuff.
You have to, it's where we go back to relationships. It's relationships. I know what kids I can get down on, when and in what moment, and when they have to be torn down sometimes. Yeah, it takes that for them to learn, but you better be able to build them back up, and you better have a relationship with them that allows you to do that. Just because you have a title as a coach doesn't give you the authority just to tear the kid down, because if they're not going to accept that from you, you're doing far more harm.
Yeah.
Then you're doing good. So it's a relationship. You gotta, and you have better relationships as far as that goes, disciplinary, than others. There's situations in their life they just can't take it.
Yeah.
And you better understand that.
Yeah.
Rusty touches on a huge point. I always start every season with a new group of boys that, hey, I got to earn your respect too. It's not just I'm the end all be all. I got to earn your respect too. Show you I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I think the frustration I see, especially I've had younger kids than Rusty has, is sometimes, I'm 51 years old. I've played a lot and coached a lot of basketball, so I keep forgetting they're 12 or 13 years old, right?
Yeah.
Like to Rusty's point, there's been times at some very high pressure games on a national level, I'm right in the middle of the huddle. Hey, y'all having fun?
Yep.
That's why we're here. It's a 2-point game, but this is a blast, right? And the thing that really discourages me is seeing coaches that are up 30 or down 30, and that happens a lot in travel, right, Coach, where teams are getting run.
Exactly.
And seeing how those coaches manage that situation. Do they put in the second string, or do they try to get their first string just a ton of points and reps? Are they housing their kids on either side of the ball? There's no reason to be pressing when you're up 40 with 2 minutes to go.
Yeah.
So for me, a lot of it goes back to the coaches, too, on Rusty's point of relationships. Are they doing the right thing, not only on the court, but in terms of managing? For me, with my own son, and you're probably the same way with Ryan and Liam, right? After a loss, you get out of the car, or you get in the car, and like to Rusty's point, I have to work on not being a coach, but being a dad. Hey, great game. Love the effort, versus why did you not box out on that free throw? So I think that's a huge thing a lot of parents forget, is at the end of the day, it's fun, but after the game is not the time to critique. Let the kids either enjoy the celebration or figure out on their own what they need to work on.
That's a hard one for me, too, especially on the football side of things. But just, you got to make it fun. You got to be, and you were on a point with the travel, when you're up or down 30 or up 30, that's when coaching, I think, is the most difficult, and you have to have the right type of person to handle those situations correctly without damaging the team. I mean, that's a great point. Anybody can coach when you're winning all the time, but when you're losing, how are you keeping these people moving in the right direction, staying encouraged so they don't get out of the sport?
I watched the coach last weekend. The game started, he was up yelling, coaching as hard as he could, and they got down by 20, and he sat down.
Yeah.
He didn't coach anymore.
Yeah.
That's not a good
What are you showing your team?
Yeah. The other point I was going to make on the parents, the parents, one of the things we see in basketball is the referee.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably impossible, but if you could just get them, the perspective I take from a coach, I don't agree with every call, but and what I teach my kids is they are just as much a part of the game as you are. Those rims up there are a part of the game, the floor is a part of the game, you're a part of the game, the referees are a part of the game. And their error is me making a bad play call is a part of the game.
Yeah.
And so, even as a coach, it's hard to do that sometimes.
Absolutely.
But, I don't think we can ever get the parents to understand, but if we could, bad calls are part of the game.
Yeah.
And literally, you see a call in the stands occasionally better than the angle of the referee.
Absolutely, because you are looking specifically. It's just like when we sit on the couch watching football games. Like, how did the ref miss that call? Well, there's a lot going on, and it's always been part of the game.
You know when he misses a call on your kid because you're watching your kid. He's not watching your kid the whole time.
And I think you've both said this right as coaches. I know I have, where if we lose a game by 1 point, it wasn't the referee. There was at least 1 or 2 plays where we could have done something different to make that. So I've been in games where I've had bad referees, but at the end of the day, that's just part of the game.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, the way I'm a big stat guy, so I had all my games statted and I look at the stats. Refereeing to me is almost like a stat. You can win or lose that.
Yeah.
And it can have a small effect. You know, we got the better of the calls tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't get the better of the call. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to win the rebound battle. Sometimes you're going to lose it. Sometimes you're going to get better calls. Sometimes you're not.
Yeah.
And you just have to look at it objectively.
And you have to accept that going into it. And if you can't, just keep your mouth shut.
If anybody figures out how to get parents to understand that, please let me know.
Yeah.
That's a New York Times bestseller right there.
That's a human nature thing, I think. It's tough. Yeah.
And I'll throw this out there, too, real quick, too, on the parent side. You know, as coaches, right, Rusty, like if we're talking to the refs before the game, you know, it's relationships, right?
Yeah, there you go.
If you're going to sit there and light up the referee the first 2 minutes, you're probably not getting that call at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But if you just ask him, hey, how's your day going? How many you got left in the tournament? All right, hey, man, if any of my boys lip off, let me know. You know, we'll take care of it.
Yep.
You know, we shake hands with the other team before we start the game.
Yeah.
So even though that's a nice gesture and the right thing to do, psychologically, that relationship, these are good guys.
Yep.
You know, but it blows my mind how many of these coaches think yelling at a ref is going to get him a call. It's the exact opposite.
Yeah. I've become very good friends with a lot to the Southern Elite Sport Flag football referees.
I saw them at your pool party the other day.
Yeah,
Good times.
yeah, exactly. Hey, you know, we got to get the calls in the season. But I mean, it's a great point. And one thing I think, too, that, you know, people need to do more of is thank your referees at any level. After that game, parents, coaches, players, go thank the referees. Because, again, like we said earlier in the show, if you don't have refs, we don't have sports.
Exactly.
And it's a thankless job. And if we could just put ourselves in their shoes, and you go out there and try to ref a basketball game and get every call right. It's not going to happen in any level.
And this is debatable, but basketball is the hardest thing to officiate.
So many judgment calls.
There you go. There's the word. It's judgment calls. It's just what you see versus what someone else sees.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough.
And Rusty, throw that on top of a second, third grade with liberal rules with parents that really don't know the rules. It's a nightmare.
Like, you just picked up the ball and ran. Is that okay? I don't know. Let them do it. Let them have fun, because that's what it's all about. On the golf side of things, you know, talking about parents and stuff like that, you know, I've been in the golf world my entire life. Been working in the golf business. I played golf when I was younger. I hardly play golf anymore, which is fine, but now Liam's playing golf, so it's exciting. But I've seen so many kids that were great golfers get out of golf because of parents. Because that's the ones, there's no ref. You're walking, and like the AJGA, which is like the top junior golf association out there right now, the parents are not allowed to talk to the kids. They're not allowed to leave the cart path and do anything. They can hand them like a Gatorade or something like that, but they are physically not allowed to talk to the kids.
Do you think, I mean, I see where that could be a golf player. It could be even more pressure. Because there's, you know, sometimes the parent, as we said, can divert the failure to a referee or a coach. Whereas, man, that could be, I could see that, and I've never been a part of it like you, but do you see like that being a lot of pressure on the kid?
Well, yeah, and it's like, you know, well, why'd you hit that ball out of bounds? Because I was trying to hit it out of bounds. What the hell are you talking about?
Let me say this. What pet peeve of mine is a kid will miss a layup and the coach will yell, "Make the layup." And I want to say, do you really think he missed that on purpose?
Yes. Do you think he's not trying to make the layup? That's the thing, and it's tough. I mean, golf's tough. He's playing in his first tournament tomorrow, and I am so nervous because Liam's vision of golf, his only frame of reference is playing a little bit with me or watching golf on TV. So when he hits what he thinks is a bad shot, the reality of it, it's a great shot because now you're still in play and you got another shot to hit, but trying to get that through his brain when he plays soccer, football, baseball, and he can, I don't want to say control the outcome a little bit more, but golf's just so different.
Right.
Because when you're trying, you're obviously trying to hit a straight shot. You're trying to get in the hole as much as you can, but you don't have anybody else but yourself. There's outside influences that can happen. So I'm really trying to stress and set the goals and the expectations so it's very, very low. And it's hard.
You made me realize like that could be a lot of pressure on a kid. There's, like you said, it's them, the club, and the ball. I mean,
well, it's a different world, right? Like I was a high-level tennis player, went to state multiple years in high school, and those individual sports like a tennis or a golf or ice skating, it's a lot more pressure mentally on the kid because like golf, right? Which club do I use? Where's how do I approach? And to do it at a young age is much more tougher without a coach right there to tell you or even a parent. So. I think the kids that play individual sports have that much more on them. You can rely on a teammate. When you're playing tennis or golf, you're on your own.
Yeah, it's just you.
Yeah, so I think it's those. I really admire those athletes. It is a much tougher mental game than being part of a team in some instances.
Yeah, no doubt, and it's gonna be interesting tomorrow. He hasn't played a whole lot, and it's his first. And we're playing Santa Rosa, so he's used to playing Bay Point, where the greens are 10, 11. Santa Rosa's running 12 or 13, and very undulated. And like I know a lot of decent adults that can't control their speed well on those kind of greens, and he doesn't. It's hard to explain to him. Look, man, this is really, really difficult, and just the fact that you're getting it in the direction you want it to go is awesome.
Right.
But it just doesn't get in there because of all the other sports he plays.
So I'm naive. What tees do they play from? Like, what's the distance?
So he's in the 8 and 9 year old division, and most of the par 4s are around 160 yards. The par 3s, 75 to 90, and the par 5s like 225.
Gotcha.
So, and he can hit the ball good. It's just the putting and the chipping where, you hit a putt past, 12 feet, and then you hit it past again 2 feet. You miss that 2-footer, and it all adds up. Now they do double par max, and it doesn't help that one of the kids that's playing in it, he averages 76 for 18 holes. But it's going to be fun. But man, I grew up playing a lot of golf and saw a lot. And what's crazy here, you can come out and watch high school golf. When I grew up in New Jersey, parents were not allowed to come watch, which I think was a beautiful thing. At the end, at the end of the match, everybody's there, but there's like you were saying, you got undulation, you got wind, you know how to read a green, you might have took the wrong club, you might have had something bad happen, all that particular stuff. So it's stressful. I'm going to be nervous as heck watching him play. Probably be the most nervous I've ever been is going to be watching him.
Can you walk with him? Or?
Yeah, I can caddy for him. I think the only thing I can't do is read greens, but I'll find that out tomorrow. Which is probably like one of the most important things. So I'm going to find a way. Hopefully Dennis Attaway is not listening. I'm going to find a way. But Liam, if you see me standing with my right foot, that's where you need to hit it. But we'll see what happens. But guys, I appreciate you hanging out in studio today, and good luck with the tryouts tomorrow and the seasons for the Gulf Coast Warriors. And David, have a great show this afternoon, and we'll be back next Monday talking fantasy football all week because it's just about that time. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents The Race to Daytona. It's your chance to win tickets to the Coke Zero Sugar 400 Saturday, August 26th from historic Daytona International Speedway. Listen to